I'm Jeff St. James, host of Ask a Brother podcast, and you're watching The Ladies' Table. Every week, women from different backgrounds, different experiences, and different walks of life come together for an honest conversation. Some perspectives will challenge you.
Trying to call straight black men to the table about masculinity when yours is compromised.
Some will make you laugh.
Well, why would a man want a woman that her claim to fame is know how to fight? He don't want to fight you. Come on now.
Some might change the way you think.
Life is about trade-offs. There's only two options. If you choose one way, you're probably not going to get the other way.
This is The Ladies' Table.
Entertainment industry is teaching women how to become undesirable. And before you get mad, ask yourself this. Who benefits when women destroy their image? Not the woman, it's never the women. And before you type it, I'm younger than your favorite rapper. Okay, so now let's look into what's actually being pushed right now. Scamming, boosting, using people, treating relationships like transactions, being loud and reckless and calling it confidence. And it doesn't stop at the music. Women don't just listen to it. They start dressing like it, talking like it, posting like it, until the whole aesthetic becomes a personality they've built without ever choosing it on purpose.
Shit. Shit.
But here's where it gets real interesting. Young Miami, the woman who made an entire brand out of that lifestyle, has said plainly that she does not want her own daughter growing up to be a city girl.
Comes to you as pretty as she is and says, Mom, I want to be a city girl.
She ain't gonna be no city girl.
So Summer ain't allowed to be no city girl?
No. I want her raised totally different. Like, I don't even want her to even see the light of day like that. Like, I really want her to just be like, like level-headed, a schoolgirl, and just on a whole nother ways. Like, I kind of was raised different, so I don't want to raise her up how I was raised. So, I'm a city girl, ain't nothing wrong with it, but I don't want that for my daughter.
Now just think about this for a second. The woman selling the image doesn't want the image for her own daughter. And now, in her 30s, she wants to get married, wants a husband, wants her kids to grow up watching something steadier than what made her famous.
Like, I didn't want to get married. Now I want to get married, Like, I don't believe in marriage. I don't want to be nobody's wife. I'm 32 now. Like, at this point, I'm like, okay, I got 2 kids. Like, I do want my kids to experience mom and dad or mom and someone else.
Because guess what? Eventually, life starts asking different questions than entertainment does.
Y'all want to be disrespectful to India Ari. So India Ari made a video where she was talking about how the song Spin It by Young Miami, the one who was trafficking with Diddy, allegedly. She explains in her video so eloquently about how the vibration of music plays a very big part in how people act and how it does control the mind. She's absolutely right. Because I have said in several videos that they changed the frequency of music in the 50s. It's people who make music, who do music, like Trick Daddy, who just raps, and you have no idea what the frequency of music is. I could honestly say I was also ignorant at one point, but I understand it now. Because you gotta be a whole damn fool to not recognize how the music is directing our community, or lack thereof, straight to the pits of hell. It really is. When I'm talking about the frequency, I'm talking about how they switch from 432 hertz to 440 hertz. Now, to some people, they have absolutely no idea to you, but don't worry, I got you. Hertz represents how many times something vibrates or repeats per second. So 1 hertz is 1 vibration.
I want is to see people understand the power of words and music and to make choices that are healthy for them. That's what I want. Do I think it matters what I want for people? No. I have finally learned that it doesn't matter, and that there's no amount of sacrificing my life force energy that is going to make anybody want anything better for themselves.
That I listened to Juvenile's Back That Ass Up on repeat for most of my flight down to New Orleans, because it's a spiritual experience. It does something to your body when you hear that.
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 in the 2000s.
You know what I'm talking about. And that's what India Ari was talking about when people thought she was saying to boycott Young Miami's Spin That. What she was saying is that whether you realize it or not, music has the power to impact you on a really deep level. Like, you can love listening to Bad Bunny and not know a lick of Spanish, because music is a universal language and can elicit profound emotional and cognitive responses. Scientists literally studied it. Researchers even found that listening to music you like increases blood flow to parts of the brain associated with reward, motivation, and arousal. The same parts of the brain stimulated by food, drugs, and sex. And that can be really beneficial. That's why, for instance, they recommend having babies listen to classical music because it helps their brain development. But imagine the other side of that. That's what India Arie was getting at. What if there are people who understand the power that music has and use it to have a negative impact?
You want to know something? Every time people get up here and we talk about the toxic rappers or the toxic entertainers, everybody not everybody, but the underdeveloped hood boogers want to talk about, well, this artist in the past did this, and we have not grown from that behavior. Every time people try to raise our people to a higher level, y'all always want to reach in the back and bring up what the past did. Okay, they did it. So why are we not growing from their negative behavior? Why are we repeating the same cycles, right? Now, people want to get up here and say, oh, well, we were listening to Trina. No, the ghetto children was listening to Trina. The children who didn't want to listen to their parents were sneaking around listening to Trina. Because real black parents separated the ghetto music from the music that the children was able to listen to. Real black parents back in the day kept a child in a child's place. The parents and the children were not partying together. When the children got in
All right. We are going to cover a whole bunch of territory today. My name is Jeff St. James from Ask a Brother Podcast, and this is the ladies panel. I want to welcome all of our ladies today. We have Miss Anita Staubmeyer from Better Love Movement. We have Miss Maggie, the substitute teacher. We have Crimson Cure, of course, and we have Dr. MESSYMICHON, Esquire. So, ladies, there was a lot of different clips, and I feel like we have a lot of different territory or directions we can go in. I'm going to say for myself, having had the chance to kind of review and do a little research and look into all of this, I have a current opinion that I don't think I had when I first started looking in on this. I think I had a general reaction. And then once I looked at the totality of all these clips, I think I have a very, very different reaction. But before I share that, I definitely want to know what you all think. And anybody can go first. And everybody that's watching, if you haven't done so, please make sure that you like this, that you share it with at least 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. Let's get the numbers way up. I absolutely guarantee this is going to be a very good, if not great, conversation. I want to know what y'all think. Is it overhyped? Is it sending the right message, the wrong message? Does it not matter? Where each of you stand?
I'll go first. I honestly cannot believe that this thing is going on as long as it has, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought this would be over in a few days, but I had did the stream with like the songs that you just played from Welcome to the Culture. And because I'm like, well, y'all, I give up anyway, because y'all gonna do what you're gonna do. It don't matter what I think anyway. Now, I've seen grown people letting kids sing it, playing it for them, dancing to it, showing them how to do it. And I said, this is exactly why it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because you all can't be corrected anyway. So what difference is it? What do I need to get all riled up to say this is not good for your kids? Y'all already not watching your kids. So why would I think that you would keep your kids away from this song? Because you let them listen. They've been fighting for Sexy Red, Sukiyana, and all the rest of them. And I've already said, this ain't no good. This ain't no good. And they be like, you can't tell me. And I'm like, fine, I can't. When your dumbass kids get in their dumbass situations, don't ask me for no dumbass money because I ain't got none for you. You already sent that message out from work. They're like, can you donate? Not me in particular. It's school time. No, I have nothing for you. Take care of your own damn kids. Sorry. But that's just
okay. Off to a great start. What the rest of y'all think?
Yeah. Tell us how you really feel, Miss Dr. Messy. I mean, like, I'm going to say this. Has music been made like this for quite a while, right? Since I was in my teen years, sure, right? We've all had our generation of this type of music. Okay, so we can admit to that. We've all had songs from our generation that I'm sure, my parents didn't appreciate, or, my grandparents didn't appreciate, and now I don't appreciate this. However, it just feels like we're in this crisis. And so this is definitely not helping. We're kind of just in this crisis period where, right, you would like to see us progress, and it doesn't look like that's happening. So I think that's a lot of people's concern is, and then let's also admit that in the 80s and the 90s, you also had, a lot of guy groups, girl groups, you had people singing about love. So I think part of the uproar is there's nothing to balance it with. I think that is what has people feeling away, because you did have NWA, you did have gangster rap, you did have all that back in my day, but you also had R&B, you also had what some of these other genres like India Arie's genre, you had other genres. But now it's like we don't have that anymore. So all we have is this or trill, or, we don't have those other genres to balance it out. So I think that's what's concerning people.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Maggie and Ms. Crimson?
I don't think it would surprise anyone. I did not know this song. I didn't even know who she was. I think, to me, and that's intentional, I think we all choose what we consume as entertainment. I think the problem, like we see here with the kids, is that they are not able to make the distinction between what is entertainment, and I use that term loosely, and what should be emulated. Didn't we have that ballet teacher coming to the internet crying because her students were requesting a song about body parts and their colors? So I think for me, it's bigger than this ridiculous song. I have noticed how people in other communities are able to let the bottom feeders in their group suffer their fate over there. I think the fact that we give this so much time and attention and pleading, and I understand what Miss India Arie was trying to do, but I do think that trying to keep everybody intact is hurting those of us who want to stand out for the right reasons. I think it's fascinating that this city girl who is making this content after having 2 illegitimate children, now she's ready for an intact family and wants better for her daughter. However, she doesn't care about the impact on anybody else's kids. So 2 things for me. I think we vote with the attention that we give the foolishness. You can call it a boycott, you can call it whatever. And I hear all of the points that have been made. And I do think it's sad that entertainment now has just become so trashy. But I think when women like this city girl, I don't even know what her name is, when the novelty fades and they want to be taken seriously, don't we have an artist who was shouting about body positivity and now nobody's buying her record because that was another gimmick? We know, I like the comment about the sister who said, back in the past, my parents wouldn't let me listen to certain radio stations. I couldn't listen to, Quiet Storm? I couldn't listen to the Quiet Storm after 10 o'clock.
Hey, Quiet
All
Storm
right.
reference.
So there were restrictions, and it was very clear about what was appropriate for children and what wasn't. And there wasn't any confusion. So I think what we can do, and for the parents that are concerned, and I don't believe that India Arie married or had children, I don't know. And I do appreciate what she was trying to do. However, talking to the ether is falling on deaf ears. I think those of us who have our own children, my responsibility, when I see this foolishness, I use this as an example to my boys. Don't bring anything like that home. We don't do that. We don't listen to that. My sphere of influence is in my family. I think that's how we fix this. Trying to boil the ocean is not effective. It just gets us laughed at. You know, Miss India.Arie has been insulted. They'll talk about your looks. They'll talk about everything but the point. So yes, this idiot song can be made. There has been raunchy music all the time. You know, I'm not going to sit here like a prude and say, you know, I haven't, you know, danced to a song that when you hear the lyrics, you're like, what is she saying again? But I'm an adult, right? Mm-hmm. During my formative years, this was not available to me. And so the parents that actually care about the impact for their children, your responsibility is to your children. And I agree with Miss Messy. When this woman decides, you know what, I don't do that anymore. Gentlemen, take me seriously. Ladies, take me seriously. It's time for her message to fall on our deaf ears.
Crimson, before you hop in real quick, I wanted to read the super chat. And everybody, if you want to show support or you have a question or comment, feel free to hit the super chat button so to make sure that we don't miss it. We have Sly Silver. I've got 5 on it. This is my favorite. Hey, appreciate you for the 5. And then let me go back real quick. And there was another comment I just saw real quick. Go ahead, Ms. Crimson.
I think the general public is having a wrong conversation on purpose. They're trying to have a conversation about Young Miami and this song. India's not having a conversation about this song. She's having a conversation about the community and what the community accepts. That's the conversation she's having. And everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people on the internet wanted to turn it into she's attacking Young Miami. This is where all the self-defense, this is where all the defense come from. Well, it was other songs back in the day, and y'all used to listen to My Neck, My Back. First of all, millennials listen to My Neck, My Back. Number 1. Number 2, we had balance, like Miss Anita was alluding to. So Little Kim was a scandal when she came out.
Yeah.
That was not the norm at all. Hip hop had more, it was overbalanced in the positive direction, actually. The positive rappers was not underground. They were not unknown. Today we don't have an equivalent for KRS-One. We don't have an equivalent for Public Enemy. We don't have an equivalent for Tribe Called Quest. We don't have an equivalent for De La Soul. We don't have an equivalent for none of that. We was listening to that. We was listening to Queen Latifah. We was listening to MC Lyte. We was listening to Sister Soldier. We was listening to X-Clan. Like, we were listening to music that was revolutionary, music that had a message to it, music. And yeah, we had our party music. But that was actually kind of like low on the totem pole. That wasn't the most popular of hip hop. I'm Gen X. I grew up with hip hop at its inception. Okay. So that's number 1. We had a balance to it. And number 2, the real conversation is not whether or not Young Miami has the right to make the song. Under the First Amendment, she got the right to make the dang on song. That's not the issue. The issue is, what are Black people willing to do to be better since we say we want to be better? We're not even willing to come together to say, whether you like the melody or not, a song about boosting, scamming, hoeing, drugs, killing, these are not good messages in the song, regardless of the fact that they might be catchy or we might dance to them or whatever. Regardless of that, those messages are not actually good messages. And we should watch how much we support that and push that to the forefront. This is not even a conversation, in my opinion, about what the kids is listening to, because at this point, you can't control what your kids listen to. Yeah, we're back in the day, we could, because there wasn't no such thing as social media and all that kind of stuff. Media avenues were limited. At this point, you can't stop your kid from hearing that song. It's all over the internet. It's on their phone. It's everywhere when they step out the door. You cannot guard them. I would hate to be a parent today, because guarding your children from certain influences is out of the door. You could do your best as a parent. I'm not saying parents are not trying to do their best for the most part, But you still not going to be able to, you're not the only influence on your kids, period, point blank. Whatever they doing in school, whatever's going on in school, you cannot watch your kids 24/7. You can't monitor them. I don't care how strict you are. You can't monitor them always. And you can't always block them from hearing things or seeing things that's inappropriate to them or that go against the values that you teach them. No matter how good of a parent that you try to be, and no matter how good the child is, they don't make the kid bad. It just stuff is just available to them, whether they look for it or not. They don't even have to look for it. It will come to them regardless of that. So that's my opening volley. We as a collective having the wrong conversation.
Nah, I appreciate everybody and what you had to say. We do have another super chat. Beats for Days. Thank you for the $10 to the panel. Most of the people defending Young Miami are saying that scamming and boosting is part of Black culture. When did that happen? Because I am lost. Crimson, I appreciate what you're saying about how I think people are having multiple different conversations. I don't think, and I think that's part of the issue is, who was it? I think it was either, I don't remember whether it was Maggie or Crimson that said, I think it was Gree Crimson that said, like, in terms of her freedom and her right to do this, she's got it, as is the case with all of us, right? I think the initial part that I was wondering about is the level of influence that music and other forms of entertainment actually does have on us as human beings. And I think that there's a group that, because maybe they didn't do anything illegal or, you know, they never entered into a life of crime, in their worldview, hey, I was able to listen to it. I grew up listening to that. I grew up watching that, and I turned out fine. And I think there's merit to acknowledging that just because someone sees or hears something doesn't mean they're going to try to emulate it. That's obvious. If that was the case, you know, this would be even a worse situation than what we're talking about. I think the issue is there's, besides the science, or at least the data that we just saw with the study where they were showing that there does appear to be some effects when it comes to the frequency that you play, what the content is saying. I guess the initial issue I'm wondering is, and I want to know what y'all think, how much would you give credit to what we saw and listened to in the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s for why we have the outcomes we have now today? And that's just an open question. I wonder what you all think, because a lot of people are saying, no, it's the parenting. Other people are saying, no, it's the lack of education. Other people like Anita are saying, well, there was more of a variety of options. And I would agree with that there was a variety of options that were being pushed and marketed, whereas now it's almost doing positive things musically is almost like an underground thing with a lot of Black musicians now, whereas before it wasn't hard to find them. They were just available and they were being pushed and they were getting awards. So from all of you, what's the percent? And Crimson said a great point. Like, today's world is not the 80s or 90s world of raising kids. Mm-hmm. Between cell phones, social media, every peer your kid cannot have a phone, but if they go to school, everybody else does have one. So outside of homeschooling and not letting your kid go anywhere, hang out with anyone, the days of kind of gatekeeping, it's so much harder than just blaming it on the parents, I think. But I also don't want to remove parents completely from this discussion. So where are y'all with percentage of how much you think music is actually influencing the community and the culture as a whole?
If I can jump back in, it has had a great influence on the direction of our community, a great one. See, what we have to understand as Black people, we real quick to say it's just a movie, it's just some music. That comes from our ignorance overall of what propaganda is and how propaganda works, and falling victim to it, and at the same time not paying it no attention. That clip that you have from Welcome to the Culture, I think what they had, the Beyonce clip and all the music clips. Mm-hmm. There was one clip in there with an old song that I remember. That's just my baby daddy. That's just my baby daddy.
Yeah.
That my baby mama and baby daddy, those terms were not even used until that song came along. We was not saying baby daddy and baby mama. We was not, and it wasn't a thing. Just now, that song, fast forward 30 years to today, what's prevalent? Baby mamas and baby daddies. That's not an accident. That's not accidental. That's not, oh man, we it was just, no. It's not all. Your parenting cannot completely overcome propaganda. And what is pushed has a great significance on the subconscious mind. And as Black people, we some of the most spiritual people that don't believe in spiritual things. And that's crazy to me. We claim believing in God and don't believe in nothing that we can't put our hands on. The subconscious mind is a real part of your mind that doesn't have any filter. Anything and everything actually goes into it and affects you and how you behave. It's only your conscious mind that has a filter on it. Most people don't even understand that. And I'm not going to get too far into it, but we have to touch it because the people that study human psychology are the ones behind Hollywood, the music industry, the entertainment industry, and they pick carefully what they push and who they push it to and why they push it to certain groups of people. And I'll land my plane.
What about the rest of you?
I agree with the with what you're saying about the baby dad song. I agree. I remember that stupid song. And when people say it now, oh, that's just my baby dad. Honestly, that is the first thing I think about. And they, there's people that think that that's cute. I don't think that that phrase has ever been cute. It's my baby mom. It's my baby dad. I never liked it. Baby mama. But it seems like a lot of degenerate type of stuff gets embraced, right? So we can say, you should get married before you have kids, and then you'll get all pushback. India Arie getting pushback is not a surprise. Monique tried, she got pushback. Felicia Rashad, of all people, gets all that pushback and just disparaged, which should never happen, right? That's why when this came out this time, I was like, yeah, child, I love it because you can't get through to those that don't want to be gotten through to. So if you want to fail, then fail in understanding that there's all these outside influences for sure, which is why you need, in my opinion, a base at home for your formative years. Because even though, which is a story I told, I knew it was wrong when that song came on in the car, me and my friend are in the backseat singing Uncle Luke song. Hey, we want some, ain't got no business singing it, right? My mother turned that off real quick and said, you won't be singing that here, and say stuff like, if you can't do it in front of your parents, you shouldn't be doing it. Stuff like that. So I don't know if people are doing that as opposed to lining up all these kids and showing them the song, teaching them the song, teaching them to dance, and then putting it on the internet, which is, I've seen a lot of that going on, which is wild and crazy. A bunch of women.
Hold on. Clock HVAC, thank you, good brother, for the $5. As soon as in Gen Z, my kids will be raised in a forest or jungle, dead serious. The majority of FBA people are done. Only a remnant survives. Ouch, that's unfortunate. High Vibe, thank you for the $4.99. The issue isn't emulation, it's tolerance. Every few years, the bar's lower. At this point, the bar is in hell. And then our influence becomes global. And then thank you for that. And then last but not least, Elizabeth, thank you for the $5. For my favorite Dr. Messy and all the intelligent, beautiful women on the panel, preach. I think I agree with both of you. I do think, and I agree with, I do think parents in the modern technological age, we're just at a disadvantage. You are at a disadvantage. And like you said, Messy, you can say this as a parent. They just got to get out your car. They just got to go to school. And they're inundated with all of the worst things ever. And to be fair, it's like, when I was in high school, it was G Unit and all these other, groups. I think it was 3 6 Mafia and Party Like a Rock Star. all of that was going on during my time as well. And some partaked in it for real. Some just loved it musically, and others, it wasn't their thing. But I'm noticing, and I agree with you, Crimson, that what we're seeing, I think it makes 100% sense that people who think there's nothing wrong with it, is not bothering anyone. How come y'all never thought about the same ladies not wanting their own children to listen to it? Which is what we saw earlier with the clip. Cardi B, I wish I had downloaded the clip in time. I remember the clip when her child walked in while she was playing one of her most explicit songs, shut it off immediately. And they repeated. This is no different than the conversation we had last week, Crimson, about what you said about when it comes to the male bashing channels. Women are pushing and promoting one thing. They actually know its effects, and they do the exact opposite in their own homes with their husbands, and apparently with how they raise their kids. And I gotta ask all the Black women in particular, because I did see the video clip, and there was a kid. I don't know if y'all saw the clip with the kids on the bus singing. It was men that were in the background that you heard laughing and joking. So this is way past just baby mamas and single Black women who are thinking like this. This is an issue where, and again, I'm also in the camp of, I'm not sure that we need to be telling everybody to boycott anything per se, as much as there's a group that's associated every negative, vile, disgusting thing that we can put out on a music track, and we tell the world we have to defend it because we tell the world that's our culture. Because if you didn't think it was our culture, you wouldn't feel as pressed to defend it as much. Or you could say, I don't think kids should be listening to that. Or, we got to be a little bit smarter with that. Or we can't be performing this inside school gymnasiums. Like, this is kind of crazy. But if you see this as cultural, and what Anita said is correct, that all the positive, or most of the positive alternatives that record companies usually would have been pushing are now not pushing that. That does make sense to me. Why more and more people do see this as what the culture is. And when you speak out against it, why they think you're operating outside of the culture, why they think you're trying to be white. So I look at
code. All code.
Yeah. So again, Crimson, and all of you kind of alluded to it. If you all think that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that they're paying people millions of dollars to get signed because it has no influence, you're crazy. You're crazy. If you don't think that they're investing all this money in trying to figure out what it is that's going to get you all, again, when you get to a certain age and point as an adult, it kind of makes sense in your world where you may slow down on some of the music that is a little too toxic. You may reserve it for every now and then, or when you're working out, or certain times, or you just get rid of it altogether. But children, we knew back in the day, I couldn't play it in front of my mom. I couldn't play it in front of my dad. Now, what does it mean when kids are now not only playing it with their parents, but it's like they're actually dancing and partying to the absolute worst caliber of music? So Maggie and then Anita, how much are you going to give credit for how much music versus other factors are influencing people? You're on mute, Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, it's half and half, but neither is better. So to answer your question, is it the music? Yes. Is it accidental? Absolutely not. I agree, like Miss Crimson, this is intentional. I remember, we're all showing our age here, but there was a time when you wanted to hear a song. I remember calling the radio station to request they play my song and waiting to hear that song. You may hear that song once or twice a day, or if it was in heavy rotation, 3 or 4 times a day. We all like the technology that has been made available to us. However, this instant access, you all remember when Napster came and it broke, we couldn't break the internet wasn't here, but it was so groundbreaking because now people could download and have music on demand. The kids are growing up now, they don't know what it means to wait for a song or wait for a show. Everything is on demand. So now when you have access to type in and Spotify or Apple Music, and we all like that. I'm not saying we need to go back to the Stone Age, but now, to your point, even if we restrict it, they have so much access, and it's no accident that the record companies are funneling and channeling and promoting the most vulgar music, and then we are just sitting here like, yes, please give me more, give me more. Does it erase the responsibility that we have to police, if you will, what happens in our home? No, it's absolutely our responsibility as parents. But yeah, there was a time when you had to sneak off to do certain things. I remember being, with my little radio at night after 10 p.m. trying to listen to what they were playing on the Quiet Storm, or little boys looking for that magazine when dad was like, you just couldn't do this stuff out in the open. So we have that issue, the access, it's everywhere. You try as hard as you can, believe me, but the kids are going to get access to it. So that is why our responsibility is to set the expectation and let them know, look, I can't shield you from everything. I can do my best, but we live in this modern world and there's access to modern things, but this is what is acceptable in our home. And I think the other problem, one of you mentioned, not only are parents, well, mothers, I was going to say a big part of this is this single mother epidemic that we have accepted. When you don't have strong leadership in the home, you have these mothers who think it's cool to have their kids dressing like them, dancing like them, twerking like them. How many of these, mom and daughter ridiculous, dance videos have we seen? So until we have, I'll say it, men take their place and say, not in my house, because the kids know what they can get away with. They know I can't do that in front of my dad, and they'll sneak off to their friend's house. So at least they have that structure in place. But I agree, like Ms. Crimson said, this is going to be on repeat. How many of us have got a song stuck in our head unintentionally? Yeah. Because it's intentionally made so that it's catchy. That's what jingles are. How many of these companies pay millions of dollars? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Y'all already know what brand it is, right? So there's no accident that this is happening. So we have to make a decision and say, okay, you know what? This is where I draw the line. And again, we can't embrace everybody. And when they get up and start dancing and twerking and doing all that, they need to be the only ones doing that. And look back and everybody's like, no, we don't do that. As long as we try to include everybody, because I firmly believe everybody can't go. And I know it's hard when you have to be, the oddball or the one who's square, or you don't get invited. I think Ms. Crimson talked about that. But as the old folks say, keep on living. Those are the same people who are going to come around and ask you, how can I have what you have? I'm striking out in love, or nobody's taking me seriously, or I can't get a job, or whatever. And then they're going to want and try to scrub the internet. I say make an example out of them. So yes, it's the music and how it's being pushed, but it's also what we allow and what we tolerate.
Real quick, I wanted to put up this question, this comment from, I think this is Khalees. Those other songs are raunchy, not promoting illegal activity like scammer songs. Well, I don't know what era you grew up in. If you grew up listening to the music I listened to, a whole lot of it was illegal. And it wasn't just stuff from the past either. We had the drill music with Chicago. We had, what was it? Rick Ross talking about, I put something in her drink and she didn't know it. We've had this for a long time of a variety of different crimes and concerning behaviors and interesting, or even just downright egregious stuff in the lyrics. So I'm not going to try to set aside her song to make it sound like it's so uniquely different from anything we've ever heard or experienced. I think, and one of the commentators we had initially play earlier, she kind of alluded to like, I kind of do it here and there, or, but as I got older, I realized how much this can affect me if I do this too much. And I think that's probably where we are in reality, where it's like between the movies, the shows, commercials, books, comics, and including music. Yeah, I'm sure that, in the grand scheme of things, everything what you all saying is true. And then there's also the other side of it. It's like, you still have autonomy, you still have choice, you still have the decision to make when it comes to what you're going to do with this stuff. I think the problem is if the environment is if it goes from something you have to hide or kind of be semi-ashamed of to openly normalizing anything and everything, This is where you get moms twerking half naked in front of their children on camera. Twerking in front of their sons on their sons. Them and their daughters wearing the same matching inappropriate outfits together. Like, and I think that's what's happening is, and Crimson, you kind of alluded to it, there is a culture that we've been what we're seeing in the music, I'm seeing now culturally. But I'm going to throw something out there, and Anita, I want you to jump in. What was the lady named? Tatiana. She had put this up earlier about this whole concept of whenever we point out toxic or concerning behaviors, especially when it involves our women. I'm going to say this, and then I want y'all to know, as Black women, I want y'all to be honest with me. I think what's happened is what I've learned over the course of, well, I probably knew this well before the podcasting. I think what I realize now when it comes to critiquing anything and everything that Black women support, if a Black woman's doing it, it's fine. It's acceptable. If a Black woman is doing it, it's okay. So if you critique her action, her behavior, her lyrics, her dancing, her anything, if it's something a Black woman's doing and it doesn't go against the Democrat, liberal, progressive tilt, it's okay. No matter what it is, no matter who she dates, how she dates, what she sells of herself, how she behaves, any place she's in, they've equated a Black woman doing it with it being right, and you critiquing it as being anti-Black and anti-Black women. Tell me what y'all think. Am I crazy?
Well, you said it some time ago where you had a list. Remember, you had a list of the topics that we are not able to speak on. And Black women, Black mama was at the top of that list.
Yeah,
So,
that was like number one. Yeah, I forgot about that.
And you're right.
That's it.
So there was a list of things that we are not allowed to speak on. We're not allowed to call out. And that is the nature of, women. Women are contradictory by nature. That's why you're going to see yes, I dress like this and talk like this and make this music, but I will not allow my own children to do it, right? That is the very nature of most women. Very contradictory. Say they want one thing in a man and choose a man that is totally different than that. That is in their nature. So that's what I want men to understand. Please understand who you're dealing with, okay? And move accordingly. But that is in their nature to be that way.
And this is my argument when men see this stuff on social media, outside of doing commentary or, podcasting and stuff like this, in the real world as a guy, if you're moving correctly, you would never be arguing about this. You would just observe, accept, acknowledge, and place her in a certain category. And you get to decide when you want to have fun if you want to. That's it. Like, and it's, again, I see the outcome. Let me do the super chats real quick. And then I want to play this brief clip of these. I think it was a mother-daughter that got caught for stealing. And people are kind of making this comparison about the song, but one sec. Technobility, thank you for the $5. Just like the labs that release diseases to control population, music outlets do this similarly. Oh, yeah. I now realize that degenerate music is the new drug and has been for a while, and we just never looked at it as that. We saw it as just something that was for fun. It's neutral. It's just a good time. And it being a gateway to your lowest self. We never really thought of it that way. And I never really thought of it till post high school into college. There were guys that were really into drill, and they would talk about how they had to play certain songs to get in the mode to get ready to do a shootout. And I promise you they wasn't playing gospel. So they, realized that the music was almost amping. And people do this all the time where it's like, you want to get amped and motivated, you play certain music. You want to play certain songs. You want to feel crappy and you want to be down. You're not playing happy music. You're playing something that matches the mood that you want. And then when it comes to this stuff, we're just saying, oh, it has no effect on us. It's a very strange conclusion. Mauricio, thank you again for the $5. Not one single rap song made it to the top Billboard 40 songs, first time since the 90s. Same year US aid is defunded. CIA rap jig is up. All I'm going to say, because I haven't looked into it enough, I do know that recent artists like Lizzo, the rapper from Florida, what's his name? The one that did the song that Cardi B bit off of, Kodak Black. They're not selling. I think he sold like 10,000 copies. These are people who have sold hundreds and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of digital copies, and now they're not selling at all. So I'm also seeing something shift, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, because you have songs like this blowing up, and then the genre as a whole, they're not selling the way they used to. So I'm not quite sure what it is and why it is that maybe there is a noticeable split. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Through the Fire, thank you for the $5. Shout out to the conversation with the ladies. Thank you for the $5, good sir. And we got Slim Daddy. Not bro, change your name. I can't keep calling this other man Daddy.
Calls every time.
Come on now. He be throwing me off. I'm trying to read and get through these things. Slim D. That sounds crazy. Never mind. Pause. Never mind. Thank you for the $10. Conscious rap. Yo, yeah, you know what? Slim 9. That sounds crazy. Hold on.
Oh, just 9. Don't put the Slim or the Daddy. He just 9.
Slim, you're gonna have to change this name, brother. This is out of pocket. 9. Thank you for the $10. Conscious rap was short-circuited because it was beginning to wake us up. I absolutely agree with that. Absolutely agree with that. We had popular films, books, even some rappers that were taken down. I'm not gonna say any names. Scholars like Dr. Ben to lift us intellectually. Gangster rap comes to corrupt Gen Y, Z, and millennials. Whew. Thank you for the $10, good sir, for that. Who else we got? We got Through the Fire again. Thank you for the 10. So I guess no one heard Freaky Tales by Too Short. Listen, brother, we done been there. A lot of us listened to it all. What was the I forget what it was called, where everybody was going to back in the day during college time. They would go out to Freakniks. So listen, man, everybody had their run. My mom, you know, good praying black woman, used to tell me how she'd sneak around to listen to Prince. So when she was a kid, so I get it, I understand it. It's a very complicated topic. I don't think it's as simple as, you know, people try to make it. Brian Warren, thank you for the $5. You can make any song to degrade black culture, but if a song mentions the J culture, they'll bleep it out even on the album. Propaganda. Yes, man. When you don't own the record labels, or when you don't own much in the music industry, and you don't even own your royalties, the groups that do get to decide and dictate what goes out and what gets to represent who. We're still consumers, and we still have significant sway in what's being pushed or not pushed. Now, I'm going to argue that certain black artists are starting to struggle with selling. I don't know exactly what that means yet, because you got Lizzo on one extreme, which I wouldn't necessarily say Lizzo was like the most egregious or toxic artist, but perhaps she was being pushed for other reasons. I'm going to say, I think people in the black community need to do the thing that we keep saying, but not doing what Marvel and Disney fans are doing. They stop showing up. They stop engaging. They stop purchasing. And Supergirl, I think, is the movie that just came out. It's gonna tank. It's gonna bomb, because, and then there's another movie, The Odyssey, that just came out, where they're taking Helen of Troy and making her a black woman. They're taking I forget the Elliot Page, who was a female, who now, you know, identifies as a male, who's now the main lead. If they don't want to support it, just not going to buy the tickets. They're not going to support it. And if they're going against the market, they're eventually going to course correct, or they're going to go out of business. I think with us, these conversations are great, but when it comes to organizations and institutions who are pushing certain things, it really does start with your own dollars. It really does. I know it's not the end all, and you're right. There is a cultural, large scale segment of the community that thinks that all this stuff is fine no matter what. But I do think recognizing propaganda and being a little bit more selective with which propaganda you're okay with, and what ones you got to give a little bit pushback to, is probably, and where your money goes is probably a better start than anything else. The Cars World, thank you for the $4.99. Great show and dialogue. What we're experiencing is devolution. Yeah, man, we are. Yeah. it took me meeting with you all for me to start realizing how much I use the word we and community and what are we going to like. I realize now that I do have to have, and again, Maggie was the first person to wake me up to this reality. I really have to recognize there really is two different Black people in the community. There really is two different Black people, and I'm not going to do the whole ninjas and not, because sometimes I am a ninja. So I have to be, smart about what that line of delineation is. I do think I'm in alignment with the what's her name, Felicia Rashad's, India Ree's, but I wasn't like that 10 years ago. 15 years ago. And it wasn't because I was the worst person ever robbing and stealing. It was because I wasn't checking for it. I wasn't interested in that. And I'm wondering, like, is there a way for people who are where they are now to be able to connect with the youth in a way? And I don't know what exactly that looks like, especially for the people who's of a different generation where the youth are their heroes and icons are Cardi B and Young Miami. It's not a lot of people who I would want to be their heroes. It's somebody different. E305, thank you for the 4-month membership. Appreciate you. And salute to Jeff and the ladies on the panel. We have Clock HVAC again. Clocky HVAC, thank you for the 5. C, not calling out Black women and the Black mommy is the main problem because we have simp Black men and weak Black men. Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I don't know. I think it's a little bit more complicated than just, because this is what I mean. I don't know that arguing, Media Man just covered this, arguing and debating with the people who thinks everything we're covering on a weekly basis is fine doesn't lead towards much of anything. I really do think what Maggie said makes the most sense. Your action speaks more volumes than anything else. The women you choose to date, the women you choose to procreate with speaks volumes. And if you're waiting for en masse a lot of women in this community to change, especially the younger they are with what their heroes are, Little Kim was the outlier. Now it's the norm. Now it's the norm. This is why escorting and prostitution culture is seen as a default thing that now you can't even criticize. Now you're anti-woman for saying that we should even have standards in that. So I think it's a little bit more than just saying like we need to call them out. To be honest with you, I do think at this point we as people have to probably start drawing these lines that includes family sometimes, includes people we grew up with, as well as people we may have known for a long time. That will, thank you for the 199. I guess C. Dolores Tucker was right. Oh, well, yeah, I guess so. Naeem, thank you for the $5. Checkmate. The serpent has the ear of our women and children. We cannot have a Black community without our women. Fix our women, you fix our community. I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. You better stop using the word "our" as well, because I'm gonna guarantee you, a lot of these ladies aren't using the word "our" when it comes to their achievements, their accomplishments, what they got going on, and what they think is wrong with the community. A lot of them think it's the men. A lot of them think when they're doing something well, we're better than our men. You got to stop viewing everything through a team lens when you're the only one on the court. They're not wearing the same uniform as you. They don't agree with much of anything you're thinking. And again, there are women in every group that are like this, and there's also women that are not. It's unfortunate right now that it seems to be like a growing trend. But thank you for the $5, Naeem, for sure. And the last two, Big Boy, thank you for the $2. Salute to the ladies with common sense. And then last but not least, Pop Nay. Okay. I'll just say Pop. Thank you for the $5. He's right. Remember, stacked chips like Hebrews taken out on all of the Benjamins in the 90s. Only Blacks put up with disrespecting ourselves. Sad. I will say, and I said it earlier, it's hard to quote unquote put up with something when you don't own it. It just is. And the largest demographic that was purchasing hip hop music all the way up until about the last few years was actually the white community. So multiple things could be true. So I wanted to say, now there was one more thing. Dr. Boyce Watkins had posted this whole thing about like, what's the end goal when it comes to this type of music, and how, people could say it doesn't matter, doesn't impact anything. But I'm going to play a clip of two women. I believe they were mother-daughter, and I want to see what you all think.
Got your receipt? For my stuff. Let me see the receipt. Is she the other one?
Yeah.
Ma'am, hold on, please.
Okay.
Yes. I understand. Please stop. Stop.
Y'all going the most. Can I get my receipt, sir? Right here. I'm finna get my receipt. You don't have to touch me.
You're gonna go right there. You're
Okay, I'm finna get. Okay. I just came. I'm not with her.
Okay. Do you have your receipt or no? Why do you have to go to your car?
Because I got it on my phone, sir.
Okay, then show me on your phone.
Okay.
Two separate things then.
I don't know what they have going on. They don't have
Two
nothing to
separate
do with
things.
me.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm asking you. If you
I don't know what's going on.
Stop and listen to me. If you didn't steal, do you have a receipt?
Yes, I have my receipt.
Where is
But
it?
I'm trying to figure out why he's running after me. I don't even know.
Where is your receipt?
It's in my purse, but I don't even know them.
Let me have your receipt then. I'll get you out of here in 10 seconds.
Okay, give me a second. I'll give it to you. Like, I don't like what the
Ma'am,
hell?
stop.
I'm gonna give it to you, sir.
Stop and give me the receipt right here.
Please chill out. I'm gonna give it to you.
Stop.
I'm gonna give it to you, sir.
What is she doing?
Oh,
Sit down, Patu. Give us traffic. Get down.
you have to do that. I'm telling you, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna give it.
Stop. Keep going.
He opened me. No.
Stay down. Put your hands behind your back.
Open me.
Put your hands behind your back.
I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it.
Stop.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Stop.
Bro, y'all doing the most.
Put your hands behind your back now.
I'm gonna give it to you.
You give no nothing now.
Damn, y'all doing the most.
We're detaining one now.
Bro, I'm gonna give it to you. Y'all doing too much.
Keep your hands there.
Bro, I'm gonna give y'all the receipt.
Yeah, there's another black female, 23 for description.
I'm gonna give y'all
What's the other one?
sir.
She was over there in a brown dress.
I'm gonna give you the receipt.
We got the one with black pants and a burgundy sweater.
Bro, I'm gonna give y'all the receipt.
Shut up about the receipt. That time has passed. I asked you for it.
Yeah, I was trying to give it to you. Sir, you can get your knee out my back.
Stop rolling over there.
I'm gonna give you the receipt, sir.
I don't know where this one started fighting with me and took off.
No, I was
He
trying
left
to
the
give you the receipt. You
he
grabbed
called
me.
I don't know where the other one is.
65 isn't confirmed yet.
This is why the whole "I'm always going to root for everybody that's black" thing don't always work. So the people who say you never need context, all you need is to know a black person or a black woman is involved.
Yep.
This is why context sometimes does matter. And I'm not blaming Young Miami for what we just saw.
Mm-hmm.
What I am saying is there's a culture, the same thing we're seeing in our prisons with our boys and our men. That was what we've heard for the last 20 years in our music. Everything. How they move, how they value life, how they don't want to be disrespected, and that's how they end up. Of course, there's people who have stolen all throughout the history of time, but now it's a trend to focus on boosting, scamming, being highly transactional, trying to steal from men whenever you can, now it's a culture. It's part of it. It is a component of a cultural behavior now. It is. So I guess what I want to ask you all to kind of wrap things up on our end is, when you look at clips like that, where I wish I had downloaded. I just saw a clip today of a mother and daughter that was bragging about stealing high-end bags and then posting it on social media and acting as if, and I'm like, y'all, I need to know, in y'all humble opinion, is there an increased likelihood for criminality if you allow or aren't mindful of how much your kids are listening to this stuff? So start with Anita and then everybody else.
Well, we had that recent case in Mississippi where the young woman, and I don't know if that was her mother or another female family member, but they were suspected of shoplifting, and the police shot into the car and killed her 1-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, we saw a picture of her at the funeral, flashing a bunch of money, flashing a bunch of cash. And I mean, it's all of it is just, it's irreprehensible. Am I saying all of this behavior can necessarily be tied back to the music. Maybe, maybe not, but we know the culture is in a race to the bottom. The quote unquote, I'm going to put it in quotes, the culture is in a race to the bottom. That's what we do know. And you're right. Every Black person in America will not necessarily align with the culture that I'm speaking of. I know I don't, and my family never has, because again, we're law-abiding, we mind our business. We do what we're supposed to do. But it is possible that this could, especially the posting on social media. We know how addictive social media is. And we've even seen these deadly trends, right? These deadly challenges and these deadly trends. So it's possible. It's possible if we're going to see this music and then people are going to start posting about it. Yeah, it's possible. People want to be a part of the trend.
What about the rest of you?
I want that list that y'all had that you're not allowed to talk about, because I'll do it. Okay, whatever it is, I'll do it. Okay. But we watch Body Cam enough to know that every single time it's not my fault, and this has been going on for a while. So this is not about Young Miami.
Listen to
like
it.
said about that. People going people, and they've been making excuses since C-19 to just say people don't have jobs, people can't afford this, and people can't afford that, to excuse stealing. Boosting was a word when I was in high school, so it's nothing new. But the acceptance of it is what the problem is. And whenever someone calls it out, then they're not on code. You're not, you act white. You're a white supremacist. I'm Auntie Ruckus child. I'm all the names, which is fine.
Auntie Ruckus is crazy. I never heard that.
I'm all the names, and then I'm just like, but I'm Black too. So just because my opinion is different than yours doesn't make yours right, mine wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't like it because I'm not supporting it. But if you go up and down, which I'm about to do a live stream on it, the blogs, it's all ratchet. It's all ratchet. I'm like, I get everything from the blog. So if you're not going over there to tell them to shut the hell up, I'm not sure why you're over here in my face. It's baddies fighting, whatever reality show, Zeus Network. Now they're taking it to the Caribbean to fight. So that is not good for the rest of us that happen to be the same color, race, whatever you want to call it. But they just think that it's acceptable. And this, I wanted to say about this right here, right? Because she ran away and she got tackled. Now it's going to be racism. And now they're going to do a lawsuit to say that the oppressor is holding her back, and Ben Crump will be down there. So this stupid wash, rinse, repeat on how it's just the same dumb stuff happening over and over and over again. You say something about it, you can't say anything about it. And then the last thing that will happen, because I'm just a predictor of things, is if Cam runs for president again, she gonna have Young Miami come perform, because that's what Black people like.
Oh my God, you're so damn right. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're so right. Real quick, let me hit a couple super chats before we continue. Uncle Old School, thank you for the $9.99. Too many in our community are listening to the liberal progressive culture that is promoting horrible messages and mindset. Shout out to the ladies. Thank you, sir, for the $9.99. We have the Sage. Thank you for the $5. It's sad these women freeze under real power and pressure. They cannot yell or out-sass the police. Shout out to Crimson Cure for the confirmation. The Sage again for the $5. I encourage everyone to go and read Kenneth Clark's 1950s Tangle of Pathology. It will give an in-depth explanation of the modern Black problems. I'm actually going to look this up. Tangle of Pathology. And then last but not least, Clock HVAC again. Thank you for the $5. We're about to a new, see a new mass incarceration. This time it's the females. Oh, I have been worried about this as well. About the idea that there's going to be a spike in female incarcerations and arrest because of the environment of what we're watching and seeing on social media. And that's what's been normalized. Again, when the fathers aren't present and the women are in mass, not in mass, but a lot of the women are starting to kind of normalize selling sex, scamming, boosting, etc., you're going to increase your statistical odds of running into law enforcement. So I'm like, I'm going to say the thing that I don't think a lot of guys have ever really seriously thought about. And shout out to my guy, man. A man supporting the men. He's always supporting us and sharing our content with our panel work. Appreciate you, good bro. I'm gonna say this, and then Crimson, I want you all to kind of come in and kind of close this out. Men, the days of only women having to do background checks. Fellas, remember, social media is open source. That means the men and the women can get to see not only what the bad behaviors, but also see what they need to do to change. To flip the script. We maybe this month we're gonna get to this whole run into religion to get bailed out at the end. There are women who are moving like this and acting this way, and you'll never know, because as a man, you're not socialized to do a background check on women. You go off of how she presently is presenting in front of you and what she tells you about her last relationship. Fellas, I'm saying it right now. Family she comes from, and running actual background checks on these women, especially the ones that live in the cities. It sounds, I would have never thought I would have had to tell a male or friend or guy of any kind, did you run a background check on her? In today's economy, I never would have thought that until this conversation just now. I think it's unwise to co-sign or sign off on or give approval for a woman that's coming into your son or nephew or whatever's life, brother's life, and no one has done a background check on these women. Because there's a whole lot of guys that's going off of her current presentation and not her legal involvement. And I'm telling you, that may be the saving grace. I'm not saying that we can't give felons second chances. You are more than welcome to do that. I'm not. I'm not going to do that when it comes to, if I'm going to give them a ring and my last name and a child, I'm not going to do that. In the same way I have that right, the women have a right not to date an ex-con or felon. So fellas, if y'all not thinking logically, look at how the women are moving on social media, what they're endorsing, what they're cool with. They're now sounding like all the men who support criminality. Just a thought. Just a thought. And then last but not least, Clock HVAC again. Thank you for the $2. B-dubs are going to get it. Y'all going to get some. And then last but not least, True Sankofa, thank you for the 20. Just want to say I love all the sisters on the panel for representing by example. You are appreciated. To Jeff, salute, brother. Appreciate you, good bro, for the $20. Crimson, final words. What you think?
Okay, to speak to the question you had about where the shift is coming from, I'm gonna say this, and some people might disagree or not see it. The shift came from the Kendrick Drake beef for hip hop. That's where that came from, and people not gonna realize that to maybe 15 years from now or 20 years from now, that was the point of the shift. It wasn't just a battle between two rappers to say who was the best rapper. Kendrick was fighting for taking hip hop back to its core and taking it away from what not just Drake, but Drake represented the ideal of we don't have to have anything intellectual going on in the music. As long as it's a bop, as long as you can dance to it, as long as it doesn't matter what the lyrics say or whether or not this, that, and third. So that shift. And then after that, he made a song called Watch the Party Die. That was a predictor. We're actually watching the party die. Kodak Black not selling since when? Drake dropped 3 albums. They went nowhere. Lizzo came and dropped the album and didn't go nowhere. Now, she not hip hop, but the reason why her album, in my opinion, didn't do very well is because she was there for an agenda to push the big girl to Black women, to keep us obese, because I'm seeing more Black women in the gym than I used to see. Black women are getting that message. So you got to push something else. Oh, no, it's okay to be big and to have the body positivity. And when she said, oh, absolutely not, I'm about to lose this weight, well, she could no longer serve the purpose of why she was propped up in the first place.
Yeah.
So a lot of these rappers you're gonna see making the music that they've been making, and it's not gonna have the amount of sales, and they're not gonna be able to make the amount of money that they were making before. The record companies see this coming. They wasn't anticipating that beef, but they just thought, oh, it's gonna make a lot of money, and it did. Kendrick made his money off of it. I don't know what Drake made off of it. He sued UMG off of it. So whatever.
He did.
And so that actually broke a couple of things. So those rappers are making that music still, and it's not having quite the same just mass appeal, people just blindly buying it, that they did prior to that. So it's not that they're not gonna buy it at all, but there's a vacuum now. And that's where and I'm saying all this to sort of address your question, Mr. Jeff, about the hip hop, the vacuum. Where is that even coming from? This shift coming from? That was the shift. That was the major shift that is affecting hip hop, and I think other genres of Black music as well in that direction. So it's a reset button, like pushing a reset button. The next thing, the other thing I want to say, and then I land, is going back to the concept of the parenting versus what's going on with the youth now. And like Miss Maggie was saying earlier, the girls twerking with their mama and stuff like that. See, but how long, we got to understand as Black people how long the game been being played. In the 60s, they was getting rid of fathers out of the home. That didn't start 10 years from now, 15 years ago, 30 years ago, right? That's been going on, right? Because they understand what the effect going to be. Then, after they was pretty much successful in getting the men out of the home, they attacked parenting style. See, Black folk used to whoop our kids. Okay? And people can disagree with that method of parenting. I'm not here to argue it. All I'm saying is that we feared our parents. We had a healthy fear of it. See, we knew what was negotiable and what wasn't. And it was not a lot that was negotiable. It was very little. Just staying in a kid's place meant what you talking about. See, if our parents and they friends or whatever was sitting around and, you know what I'm saying, partying and talking, they might have been smoking or drinking. You was in the back with the other kids. If you came in that room, the music literally stopped and everybody turned around and your mama said, "What you want?" See, you couldn't sit there in front of them and listen to grown folk conversation. You could not be in there. She called you in there. Do that little dance you be doing. Do that. And then you go ahead and give you a piece of candy or something like that. And then you go ahead on back where the other kids that play with your toys or something like that. They come in, check on you, make sure you ain't in here doing nothing crazy, fighting and doing whatever else in here. And then you couldn't be, a child's place was a child's place. Then we entered into, I'm not here to attack it, gentle parenting, which often translated into no boundaries for your children.
Don't tell that to Dr. Cheyenne. I mean, Cheyenne Bryan.
Right. That often translated into no boundaries for your children. A lot of people took that, well, if I can't spank them, and if all spanking is abuse, a lot of people took that as I can't correct them and I can't discipline them. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. It attacked, in my opinion, personal opinion, it attacked how Black people parented children. We was the ones heavy with the corporal punishment. Okay, we gonna tell you a few times. We gonna make it real clear. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Damn.
You gonna get something. Don't stop playing with me. See, the mothers nowadays, I'm sorry to kind of going on a little bit of a tangent. Mothers down there, I don't know what to do with them kids. Listen, our mothers, that she telling them 15 times to lay down. Our mama had to do this. After she told you lay down and you come back, she didn't have to go get your daddy. You knew what it was a problem. If she done sat up and now she just ain't even saying nothing, she just looking at you, you knew. Okay, I'm out of chances, because the next thing she finna do is put hands on you. She finna put her hands on you now. She done told you 50 times, go sit down.
You bringing that PTSD back. I'm thinking about the mothers that will promise a whooping on the way home, and then they don't bring it up. They don't say nothing. The days going by, they laughing, enjoying it. Everything's going. Ate dinner, dessert. They done went to bed. Light is off. So you think, well, maybe God is good. Nope. They're gonna catch it. And
wake you up with it.
Caught you slipping. Growth Talk. $10. Peace, Jeff, Sister Messy, and the ladies on the panel. This isn't new. I worked in juvenile justice in the early 2000s. Teenage girls were setting up robberies and boosting back then. Jesus. Dub Will, thank you for the $4.99. You definitely need a background check if you just moved to a new location I'm saying it, fellas. I think we're at the stage where you need it, period. It doesn't matter where you moved or where you live. I think that the social media streets has revealed that what the ladies have said on this panel repeatedly is the odds are not in your favor. And at best, minimum thing you can do, rather than just going off of her word, when she's always going to be her best representative, how about, seeing if there's any other additional things that you could factor in before making a lifelong altering decision? Dwayne, thank you for the $10. Life is not a debate. And she said it all, racing to get to the bottom. Yeah. And then last two, Clue Studio. Thank you for the $10. Hey, Messy and Maggie. And then 9, Sis Crimson is describing a Manchurian candidate on a social level. When will we understand the idea of the puppet and the puppet master? So everyone, we thank you. Absolutely. Oh, hold on. What else we got? Oh, gifted a Messy membership. Thank you, Lauren, for doing that. And everybody, if you haven't done so, please make sure that y'all like, share, and subscribe to all the people's channels that you see on this respective platform. Ladies, I thank y'all for doing this. It's encouraging because I do know that if not the majority doesn't agree with us, I think there is a very strong growing minority. And I think the sign that gave me hope was what Crimson said about the music. I think something is shifting with the music. And I think even the last 6 months to a year of women seeing man-bashing content creators getting married and having children with their husbands, I think they're starting to reevaluate. And so, again, not everybody's going to change, but there's starting to be cracks. I said it before. I think that there may be cracks because I know some people say it's hopeless. It's a wrap. There may be some cracks that this may be the beginning of something that we don't even know what it could turn into. So I'm not going to say I'm completely hopeful, but I am hopeful that we're at least making an impact with these type of shows and content. So all of you, if you haven't done so, please make sure that y'all send this to 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 5 people. Make sure that y'all hype up these videos wherever you're watching it from. And thank y'all for y'all love and y'all support. We genuinely appreciate it. And always feel free to hit the super chat button, even if you see it well after the live. So I'm going to close things out and play a thought-provoking video. And hopefully we see you all this time next week. And also the men's table. It's on Wednesday. I think we'll be covering this topic as well, trying to figure out which additional guests we may have on. So stay tuned for that. And then lastly, Sarah Fontenot, she's coming through from It's Giving podcast on Friday. So Sarah, please show up because I don't like making announcements and people not showing up on time. So stay tuned for that. Thank you everybody that's been supporting us in our dreams of being able to do this type of work. It means a lot. And if you haven't checked out my episode with what's his name? Oh, why did I say what's his name? That's bad. I'm thinking of so many different things. I have like 4 different Katino Mobley, the cat. I just had his interview from the NBA last week. It's been for members only. It'll go live for everybody on YouTube tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So everybody, please make sure y'all follow these ladies, support them, make sure y'all show love to their platforms. And I'm going to close this out. So ladies, thank y'all for doing this. All right. So see y'all on the other side.
Thank you.
Peace. The backlash against India Arie over Young Miami is giving the backlash against Dr. Raquel over Cheyenne Bryant all over again, on multiple levels, but for a common reason between them. A significant subset of Black folks have romanticized the struggle and subsequently glorify the hustle being the primary means outside of the mainstream that Black folk have been relegated to come up in a white hegemony, in a white power structure. When I first started teaching at Harvard University in 2017, I even had some folks who were close to me come and ask me, yo, so, what's the play, bruh? To them, it was like Ocean's 11. Like they finally got a guy on the on the inside. They were wondering, what's the lick? They thought it was a hustle. Until many years later, when I told them that I was giving my students a final exam, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, final exam? So you teaching? Yes, I'm teaching. But they would have supported me nonetheless, even if it was just a hustle. And so when folks of this mindset see Dr. Raquel calling out Cheyenne Bryant for dismissing the importance of certification, in the minds of these people, Dr. Raquel is a snitch, a rat, hall monitor, tattletale for telling on Cheyenne Bryant. Whether Cheyenne Bryant do or don't have a real doctorate is besides the point. Hustlers see her as an anti-hero who's navigated the labyrinth of a corrupt system of academia, allegedly. And that makes her relatable to them, in the same way that Carisha or Young Miami is relatable to the people who are defending her. They've heard the rumors of Young Miami having a learning disability and overcoming very many obstacles and succeeding against all odds by way of the hustle. And that includes aiding and abetting Diddy and other unscrupulous shenanigans. But she made it. And so people are not really arguing against India Arie that the song isn't vulgar or that the song is somehow morally upright. They know it's not. They just simply believe you can't knock the hustle. Even the rapper whose song helped to popularize the phrase can't knock the hustle has himself become a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, by way of dubious deals, including celebrating the anniversary of that very album with an exclusive promotion through a chain that's currently being boycotted by the Black community. So him promoting the idea that you can't knock the hustle turns out to be quite a self-serving sentiment. But I digress. This is essentially Black class warfare, spiked by the misogyny of men, male hustlers, who've exploited the talents of both Carisha and Cheyenne, contributing some of the most disgusting vitriol to the discourse.
Black women are attacking her out of jealousy. You just mad and you jealous.
So the question is not can we knock the hustle, but should we? We out here. Peace. The backlash.